President of FacilityConnex, Tom Schiller. Thank you for being here.
Thanks.
So tell me what you're seeing at the show this year that's been a little bit different for you, a little different than previous years.
It's interesting. This is my third year here, and I see a lot more companies that I've never seen before.
Yeah.
A lot of new startups that are here. It's really kind of interesting.
There seems to be a lot more capital in the market.
That's true as well.
Yeah. So tell us what you're doing at FacilityConnex.
So FacilityConnex, it's not just about the energy management, it's about the equipment. And it's about how the equipment uses energy. So we do fault detection diagnostics on top of the equipment to really kind of help the operators know what's the problem, what's causing my energy or my equipment to go out of what it should be doing.
And how does that, what does approaching it in that way, what is the end benefit for the user?
There's actually three different things that I talk about. One is obviously the energy reduction, energy savings. You can get incentives to help you pay for it. Two, it's really efficient for their operations, their maintenance team. We've seen people go down by 23% in their break fix calls that they get. And then the third one really is the life expectancy of the assets. They are really getting longevity. One of my customers who's here and speaking in on the advisory board, he actually told me in a webinar that we did that, really, Tom, it's about your people. You guys give us a great experience calls, great stuff. But the key is you're making my assets last longer. It's hard to quantify that.
Yeah.
But when he said that, it really kind of resonated with me.
And why does that make it last longer?
So by making them more efficient, right?
Less wear and tear.
Correct. Right. I'm running these fans that these air handler units and the chillers and the boilers. I'm running them when I really shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Right. So let's do a little more optimize them.
Tell me about one of your success stories from the past year.
Yeah, okay. So one of the ones I really like to talk about is Greenville Health.
Yeah.
It's a hospital organization, and we just started connecting with them about a year and a half ago.
Yeah. And
our first experience call, we do these monthly with the customers, we identified 50 leaky steam valves.
Really?
50. And their maintenance staff spent the next month fixing those. It turned into an 8-hour payback. 8 hours. Saved them $230,000 just by fixing those.
And are these just found by your sensors?
It's found by our analytics, right? And mostly I'm going to give credit to my people because the engineers kind of looked at it. The analytics was pointing it out. They verified it, right? So you don't want the false positives happening, which a lot of people do, especially when we first get connected.
So, Internet of Things, obviously a big theme.
Yep.
But what you're explaining to me is that it is not just the devices, it is not just the data, it is having a very seasoned eye. So in a case of that you were just talking about, does someone go on site? Is most of that being interpreted by the data? How do you know what a real leaky steam valve is?
Right. And this is what my customers say is we know their buildings as well as they do. So at first we do go on site. We want to see it. My engineers like to, again, engineers they want to touch it.
Yeah.
But once we've done that, our experience calls, we don't have to go back. We like to sometimes just because of the relationship.
Sure.
But we just on a monthly basis, we're talking to their engineers and their maintenance staff. It's really kind of a technology's technology.
Yeah.
But it's about the people.
So, talking about people, there's I guess some call it sort of the break fix mentality, and you guys transform that a little bit.
That's part of what we try to do.
In what way and how?
So I'll even talk about one of our very early on customers, South Coast Hospitals. They were completely break fix, right? And their whole attitude was even the maintenance guys were like, we don't want this, right? We don't need another thing telling us what to do.
Right.
Nowadays, when you go there, in the morning, they go in and they look at the dashboards and they see what the problems are, and that creates their maintenance plan for the day or for the week.
Right.
Versus before, it was like they're waiting for the phone call from, somebody in the office or a patient that says, I'm cold or hot. So they're getting ahead of it now.
Is the feedback that they get pretty predictive? So you go, wait a second, that's up by 1 degree. That's the pressure is up by 2 pounds. That's your alarm bell before the disaster. Is that right?
That is correct. Right. And actually, it's more the trends. It's what's been happening. So how many times has it kind of gone across that threshold and back and forth? And the analytics start learning over time, and they're looking upstream and downstream from the equipment to see what's causing that. So you can actually see a problem before it's happening. I'll tell you a story about an operating room, right?
Yeah.
Because operating rooms are key. If you have to move an operation from an operating room, it's very costly.
Sure. And dangerous.
Dangerous, right. So the infectious disease piece, which in a hospital is critical, and this happens in labs as well, where the air changes have to be done in a certain case. And the infectious disease people will stop you from having an operation and shut down your whole place if you don't meet these criteria.
Right.
So our analytics actually prove it for them, so they have now an indication of whether they're in or out of compliance.
Interesting.
So it's a risk thing that we're now talking to a lot of customers about.
It's pretty mind-blowing because it's kind of close to being a psychic, right?
You know, and that's not the intent that we had when we built this.
Yeah.
But when we were working with our clients, you know, whether it's in an office building or whether it's in a lab at a university or in a hospital, the air quality is becoming a huge issue.
Yeah.
We're actually now working in Dubai, and Dubai has a huge thing on air quality. So, because over there, it's crazy. 70 to 80% of their electricity cost is HVAC. Huge. Versus here, it's only around 40, 50%.
Right. And not just that, I don't know, but I'm imagining there's also an issue with the moisture in the air or lack thereof.
100%.
So how do you help them with that?
So we actually look at the environment. So you can't just look at the building and the equipment. You have to look at the environment that it operates in. Whether it's cold, warm, heat, humidity, all those things affect the way the equipment runs. Mm-hmm. So you have to look at that. And the humidity quality, like solar over there was going to be huge, but the sand covers up all the solar panels. So they're completely reduced as far as their effectiveness. We don't have that problem here.
Right.
So you have to look at the environments that you're in and be able to adapt to that. And that's what we've been learning about over the last several years.
How are you helping to spur the change, the growth, the innovation?
It's tough, right? Because you have I was talking to a guy earlier here at my booth, and he said, oh, but the buildings, most of the buildings, 75% of the buildings out there don't have these intelligent sensors. IoT is going to change that for everybody, right? So I want to get it down to the point where you can do it for a 15,000 square foot building. Instead of right now, we can only do it for like 100, 200,000 square foot and above, because those have the systems in place.
So it's going to start getting down, maybe even to a household level.
I think it will.
Yeah.
I mean, our pricing models for all of our competitors here, they're not there yet.
Right.
But I think it will get there.
What makes someone choose FacilityConnex over some other company that offers solutions?
I'd like to ask my customers that, because it's hard, because we all kind of say the same thing on fault detection diagnostics. So I try to talk about the experience that we provide.
Yeah.
I let them meet my people, my engineers. I let them talk to my other customers, and that kind of explains the difference. I mean, we talk about our analytics being deeper and more experience. Everybody can say that.
Sure.
Right? But it's really about an incredible experience using it and getting them to adopt it. Most of our customers are continuing to renew their subscriptions and expand it, right? Because everybody starts with one building or a couple buildings. All of our customers are now expanding to 5, 10, 15, 50, 100 buildings. So.
Yeah. It seems like your passion drives you, your passion for your people, your passion for your customers. What is it that makes you love what you do?
So I started out of college working at a chemical plant, and my job was to track the energy usage at the plant. And we were spending $1 million a month on electricity. I didn't know what that really meant, but my job was to actually help try to save that. So last 30 years, I've been doing industrial automation, and I moved over to this building environment, and it's really, people don't even pay attention. Like I'll tell you the Dubai thing, they didn't care about it, but the electricity went up by 23% this past year, and they get tariffs on top of it. So now it's all of a sudden, it's a bigger number on that bottom line.
Yeah.
But that's just the energy usage. It's more about the effectiveness of that equipment and making your people more effective. Because we know that people aren't going to hire more people just to do this stuff. So how do we make their people more effective? I love helping out those customers become that way.
That's great.
Getting into a preventative, predictive, prescriptive maintenance mode.
Is there anything else that people need to know about FacilityConnex and the work that you do?
We're probably one of the smaller players out there, but as one of our customers said in a session earlier, he goes, I love the fact that your people, when I call, we're very adaptable. We actually work very hard to make sure he gets what he needs.
Yeah.
And he loves the fact that we're very responsive on that.
Well, thank you for being a company that cares about people, and thank you for your passion about analytics, predictability, and efficiency. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Thanks.
Tom, thank you very much.
Appreciate it.